Hey there! If you've got a dog here in Parrish, you already know it's a pretty special place to live. We're going to walk through everything you need to know to find a fantastic trainer who can help your dog be their best self right here in our community. So here's what we're going to get into. First, we'll talk about what makes training in Parrish unique. Then we'll cover how to find a trainer that's right for you, what you can expect to pay, and some really key questions you'll want to ask. And finally, we'll touch on some local rules and resources you'll find helpful.
All right, let's start with Section 1, Training for Life in Parrish.
You know, Parrish has this awesome blend of quiet neighborhoods, brand new trails popping up, and even some wide-open rural spaces. That's why having a dog who's a good neighbor is so valuable here. Think about it. Good training helps your pup handle all that new construction noise without getting stressed. Or maybe, just maybe, learn to ignore that squirrel that's taunting them from the fence. Okay, so that brings us to the big topic, finding your ideal trainer. We're going to look at their philosophy, credentials, and the types of programs you'll see.
You're going to hear this term a lot, and for good reason. Positive reinforcement. It's really the gold standard in modern dog training. Basically, it's all about rewarding the behavior you want to see with treats, praise, whatever your dog loves. This makes learning fun for them. Instead of being afraid of doing the wrong thing, your dog actually becomes excited to figure out what you're asking. It builds this amazing bond, and it's just so much more effective in the long run.
Now let's talk about those letters you might see after a trainer's name. Think of them as a sign of their commitment and expertise. Things like CPDTK or KPA-CTP are fantastic for general obedience and puppy skills. But if you're dealing with tougher stuff like serious anxiety or reactivity, you'll want to look for certifications like CBCCKA or IABC-CDBC. Those show a deeper level of knowledge in dog behavior.
So, which is better for you, group classes or private lessons? Well, it really depends on your goals. Group classes are awesome for puppies and dogs who need to practice their skills around distractions. You know, other dogs, other people. But if you've got a specific issue at home, like say your dog goes wild every time the doorbell rings, that one-on-one attention from a private lesson is probably what you need.
And hey, there are other formats too. In-home sessions are perfect for tackling those household-specific behaviors. Day training is a lifesaver if you've got a packed schedule. The trainer does the work while you're busy. And then there's Board and Train, which is a really intensive live-in program where your dog gets fully immersed in training.
All right, let's get practical and talk about money. What does dog training actually cost here in the Parrish area? So, what kind of budget are we looking at for professional dog training around here?
Okay, as you can see, the prices can really range depending on what you need. For a standard 6-week group class, you're probably looking at somewhere between $160 and $250. A single 1-hour private lesson at your home might be in the $90 to $140 range. Of course, the more intensive options, like a 2-week board and train, are a much bigger investment. Oh, and a good tip, always ask if there's a travel fee, especially since some trainers might be coming to Parrish from a bit further away.
Okay, you've narrowed it down to a few trainers. Now it's time to chat with them. This is your interview checklist to help you find that perfect fit. These are some absolute must-ask questions. First off, you'll want to hear them say they use positive reinforcement. Ask about their certifications. You also want to know, hey, can you make a plan that's just for us and our goals? Find out how you'll both track progress and definitely get the final price, including any travel fees. And for behavior stuff, it's great if they're willing to work with your vet. Lastly, ask what your homework will be, because what you do between sessions is where the real magic happens. Training doesn't just happen in a session, right? You've got to take it out into the real world. So let's talk about some local Parrish rules and some great resources you can use. Yeah, it's always good to know the local rules of the road. Here in Manatee County, the big one is the leash law. When you're off your property, your dog has to be on a leash that's no more than 8 feet long. Also, your dog needs to be over 4 months old and wearing their rabies tag. And, just being a good neighbor means keeping any nuisance barking in check. It's all part of being a responsible dog owner in the community. So you've got these new skills. Where do you go to practice? Well, Parrish Park is a great open spot for on-leash basics. If you want to level up, head over to Buffalo Creek Park in Palmetto. The paved trails there are perfect for practicing walking politely around other people and bikes. And for a real-world challenge, take your dog to Lake Manatee State Park. The trails there are full of new smells and wildlife sounds, an amazing place to work on focus. Getting the right training isn't just about obedience. It's about helping your dog feel confident and welcome everywhere you go together in the Parrish community. The effort you put in now is truly an investment.
It's what makes those neighborhood walks relaxing, having friends over stress-free, and exploring all our beautiful local spots a real joy for both of you. We wish you the best of luck in finding that perfect training partner.